I tried buying you guys a hat and some QR codes. And it's a hat with a QR code, but there's also a sticker you can put on your car or something like that. And then when you scan it, it just takes you to a website that says, show me them titties. And my wife's like, absolutely not. These men are all married. You cannot do that, Brian.
I want one. What are you talking about? Don't let her vote for me. I want one.
I know.
What are you talking about?
Hello, my friends.
Thank you for joining us for the PEBCAK Podcast, a weekly information security show featuring some all-around good people. It is week 31 of 2024. I'm Chris Louie, and really looking forward to watching Dual Core at DEF CON this year. With me, I have my co-host, The Hot Dad, who's wearing his Suns Out, Guns Out tank top.
Yeah, Dual Core is it's an Intel processor, so Chris is going to be staring at the wall of processors, apparently, which is cool. Good for you, man. And I will not be wearing that shirt because I do not own that at all.
Something tells me you do have a collection of tank tops, though.
I used to back in the day, not anymore though. I have some that I cut the sleeves off, like some shirts to go work out in. All right, that sounds like a giant douchebag, so never mind. I don't do that.
You are a giant douchebag. Let's keep going.
That's the profile, Brian.
What? No, I'm not. By the way, I just got back from Indiana. Place is pretty dope, I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed myself.
Nice.
Where'd you go? Indianapolis?
Yeah, very green. We drove for like 90 minutes to get to the meeting. But yeah, and it rained. I was like, what's this green stuff and what's this wet stuff, right? I'm from Arizona. We're not familiar whatsoever. It was a good time. I'm going to make a vacation out there.
Car.
I want to do the...
Go meet in a race car?
No, I want to do the Indy 500 and then go somewhere where they mined all the limestone for the feds and then go swimming over there. So we'll see.
Limestone? What's limestone used for?
A lot of federal buildings. They mined it from...
Gotcha.
From Indiana. I had no idea. Yeah.
Did not know that.
Supposedly Al Capone had like a train system going over there as well. So
Today I learned.
Like a choo-choo train or a sex train? What was that?
It's always
train.
Is that the Macarena?
Yeah,
is that what you just
did?
did?
The Macarena train, yeah.
Train.
And we have Glenn Medina, or should we call him Lockpicking Glenn, or LPG. When are you going to fire up that YouTube channel?
Well, all I did was ask you for a lockpick set if you're going to be at Black Hat. Then you quickly remind me, hey, you could buy it on Amazon for cheaper because the ones at Black Hat are all cheap stuff from China. He sends me this link, and in the link to Amazon, it says made in China. So I kind of looked at him like, what the hell, Chris? They're both from China. So what does it really matter here?
Yeah, but you save $50 by buying it on Amazon than buying it at a live event. So you're welcome,
Price
Glenn.
Is a difference. Thank you so much. I appreciate you saving me the money.
I just want a lockpick, so I go to like an arcade. I'm saying like, yeah, I'm gonna get that Nintendo DS today, boys, but not with quarters. With this lockpick, just open the door, walk right out. It looks like it'd be so easy, like especially the circular. What are those round locks called?
Tumbler locks.
Yeah, those tumbler locks, man. That looks like it's easy picking.
Yeah, or just
especially
use
a
crowbar
the lockpick lawyer
and pry open the door. There's
I'm
that
trying to
too.
do damage. You're trying to do criminal damage here. Damn.
You're trying to make it look like no one was there.
Freaking Chris, he lives in NorCal. He's like, this is what we do, right? We just steal stuff and break things and riot and just have a good old time, man. Yeah.
He's supposed to be an all-around good guy. What's going on now, Chris?
All around borderline terrorist.
Yeah, apparently this is like a podcast on how to teach criminals how to be criminals.
Yeah.
Our guest this week is Jamie Harris, West Philadelphia, born and raised. Jamie is a principal sales engineer who joined Zscaler right before the pandemic started. Welcome to the show. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, Chris, thanks. Hey, really happy to be here. Been in the IT industry a long time. I've actually been an SE for about 13 years, but before that I did a stint of 14 years as a end user of technology. So been doing this for quite a while.
What's it like having a girl's name?
You know,
Jamie.
No, I'll take it. So my given name is James, but I really only get called that when I'm in trouble. So I've gotten used to the Jamie name.
Oh, that's funny. My first high school crush, her name was Jamie. If you're still out there listening, you're dead to me. You didn't give me the time of day.
Are you sure? Are you sure it wasn't this Jamie here?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah,
or was it just
it wasn't
a boy Jamie that had long hair and you perceived him to be a her?
This was back in 1995, not almost 2025,
It's okay,
brother.
Brian. It's okay to come out. It's okay.
It's warm in here,
things
though.
were different then.
Yeah. Jamie Dimon, one of the most successful CEOs, is also a Jamie.
That's right.
In Arizona, we would call you Jaime. So,
Jaime, yeah.
Jaime.
See, muy bien.
Muy bien.
Yes.
Combined, we have decades of information security experience here, not just to educate, but to entertain. We've got 4 awesome stories for this week, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. This week, we're going to have a short Closing the Loop segment, then talk about Russia. A security company hires a North Korean spy, and then close with what Fin7 and Southwest are up to. Quick programming note, next week's episode will be a special one, so be sure to subscribe and tune in for that one.
Are we going to do that live? Can we do that live or no?
We will, if the cloud god can make it.
Yeah.
You don't need me.
We'll have to check his...
Should we make this like a really like a dramatic podcast, like full of like this craziness and like drama, girl stuff right now? No, we'll save it for DEF CON. We'll make it really weird. I'll make it weird there.
There you go.
We're going to check with Brian's EA and see if his calendar's open at that time.
Yeah, my EA, whatever.
Closing the loop, on episode 70, we detailed a scheme by an Avaya employee or several Avaya employees to generate illegitimate licenses and resell them at much lower rates, costing the VoIP provider a reported $88 million. Well, the hammer of justice has finally fallen, and the mastermind of the scam was just sentenced to 4 years in prison, and his accomplices got 1 and 1.5 years each.
Is it really their fault?
Wait. How much did he make? Because 4 years, 80 million, 40
That's
million.
what they lost was 88 million. What did he say?
They lost 88 million. He made a bunch of money, but as part of the sentencing, not only did they get jail time, they were forced to pay millions in restitution, so he doesn't get to keep it anyway.
But
he's got that money in an offshore account, right? So
rough.
What's the silver lining?
You have to, not only do you get to go to prison, but you have to, this whole restitution thing as well. I'm like, bro, I spent that, right? Like there is no money. And how the heck am I supposed to get a job as a convicted felon to pay back millions of dollars if making millions of dollars a year is hard enough already, legitimately?
So that whole time, Avaya wasn't going down because of their technology. It was because this guy was stealing from them.
Selling these pirated licenses.
It's sales avoidance, right? Not cost avoidance, sales avoidance, right? And think about this. Like there is an upside. How many of these customers are just so happy? Like they got to use it for years for free, or kind of.
Do you think, did it come out that they actually knew that these licenses were pirated? It's like, hey, like when you were pirating dish cards and stealing from Skynet, did you know? You knew what you're doing. You knew what you were buying.
We found a regional VAR that sells it for pennies on the dollar. Sounds like it's on the up and up.
That's like buying a Microsoft license from eBay for $5.
Yeah, this is definitely a legitimate Windows 11 Pro license that I'm getting for $2.
That's not legitimate. That's known. That's someone has the key maker and they figured out how to monetize it.
How does that even work nowadays? It's been so long since I did anything on Windows. Is it? You think it just would check back home all the time?
It is, yeah. There's the activation piece of it. So typically what you see on eBay for those $2 or $5 keys is somebody that works at a very large IT shop, call it a Deloitte or an EY or one of these large companies. They get a hold of their multiple activation key and then they just sell it, and then there's like no way for them to really audit it or track that. It's a legitimate key and you can activate it, but eventually if the company figures it out, they'll audit it and cut off your access.
Revoke them. So those keys, you be like, would it show on my Windows computers is like, Brian Deach, care of like EY? No.
There's no end user information tied to that key, even after it phones home. It just checks if it's legitimate or not. And there's ways you can block the activation or redirect the activation too.
Can you, is it unlimited if you're like one of these large firms, or you just like, I have an EA license and I just, boom, whatever I want? Or
it's usually seats, but there's usually like hundreds of thousands of seats or tens of thousands of seats. So there's really no way for them to figure out if somebody's selling this on the side.
Someone's the Peter Pan of Windows activation keys out there.
Yep. Or Robinhood. Are you thinking Robinhood?
Yes, actually.
How much money are they making? Because it's only $5. I mean, what are they doing here?
$5 is $5.
Sell it for more.
You could buy a McDonald's value meal for $5 now.
That is not true. There's nothing for $5 at McDonald's.
Yeah.
They brought it back. It's like a sandwich, a small fry, and a small drink for $5.
Oh, gosh. Sounds like...
Is it like a slider now? The size of these things are so small. Is it like a slider?
Probably.
I will say soda at McDonald's is way better than anywhere else. And Jamie, just start talking. Otherwise, Chris was...
I'm gonna steamroll through this.
Just steamroll us, buddy. Go for it. Don't be bashful.
All right, Jamie.
I'm pretty sure at McDonald's they crank the sugar up a lot higher, which is why it tastes better.
On your McDonald's. I think, if I remember correctly, I'll look up the article and I'll link through it. I think McDonald's gets a special formula of Coca-Cola that nobody else gets, I believe. And that's why it's different.
Yeah, it's like
the crack formula.
Yeah, it actually has
it's
the cocaine
like when they have
in it
salty
still.
snacks on the bar, they put salty snacks out so that you drink more at the bar. I think McDonald's cranks up the sugar so that you eat more French fries or something.
Did I ever tell you guys about my $1 million idea of owning a bar with a salt lick?
No.
Whoa.
No, it is not appropriate whatsoever for this podcast. But when we're in Vegas, I'll tell you guys all about it.
All right.
It is disgusting. Let me just
adding that to the show notes now to talk about the salt lick.
Well, don't worry about it. Zoom AI will capture that.
All right, Zoom AI. Brian will talk about the salt lick in Vegas next week. For our first topic, very timely, we have great news that after 491 days of being wrongfully detained in Russia, Wall Street Journal journalist Evan Gershkovich is free. Former U.S. Marine Paul Wheaton is also freed, who was the longest-serving American unlawfully detained in Russia. And a journalist, Alsu Kumasheva, was released after being wrongfully detained. In the largest international prisoner swap since the Cold War, a total of 16 wrongfully detained people in Russia and Belarus were released. In the exchange, 8 Russians being held as prisoners in other countries were released, including a brutal hitman being held for murder. Among the other 8 released Russians were 2 Russians held in the U.S. who were arrested for various cybercrimes. One of these individuals was serving a 27-year prison sentence for running the Carter.su carding firm, causing hundreds of millions of dollars in losses for these credit card companies. And the other was sentenced for using hacked data for insider trading. I'm pretty sure we did a story on this where this guy would infiltrate these newswire companies, get the press releases before they were released, have insider information, then he made millions of dollars trading stocks using this insider information.
Mm-hmm.
So he's from Congress then, right?
Yeah.
He held official
office. He just got caught.
Yeah.
Well, this really shows how much Russia values their cyber criminals, that they were willing to give up their political pawns of the Wall Street Journal reporter, a U.S. Marine, and a free press journalist to free these cyber criminals.
Can we just...
That was a good trade.
I don't know. If you read The Art of the Deal...
No,
they did get their assassin back.
Yeah.
The KGB assassin is now back in Russia, so
he was a legit
I'm sure they have
man.
big plans for that guy.
Dude, I am super stoked that any POW is being freed, but the timing is just stupid. Like, really? Like, months away from the biggest election in the world, and now we're doing this? Like, you're going to do this like 3 years ago? And I think dad...
Well, if you think about it...
We got that basketball player back, but we couldn't get the Marine or the Wall Street Journal reporter back.
That was a 1-for-1. This was an 8 for 16.
Yeah.
Or 16 for 8, right?
So you're thinking in absolute terms, Glenn. I'm thinking of none of these people should have been detained in the first place terms.
Well, so we
Even
know,
the cyber criminals,
right?
the assassin, you jerk.
What if it turns out that of the 8, they were really CIA agents, right? That we don't know about.
All right, I think we have a Putin apologist on the podcast that we have to kick off now.
I don't have an apologist to anything. I'm just saying, don't believe the government, right? So, and there's always this conspiracy theory out there someplace.
That's true.
So, I mean, that's what we're being told on the news. You don't know what's being said in Russian news, right?
So you really think this 3-day closed-door trial with no legal representation was a legitimate act of justice in Russia?
Hey, that's their legal system.
That's just how things are done around there.
Love it or leave it, right, Glenn?
Yeah, love it or leave it, yeah.
Forget the fact that he's like, if he was or was not like a 3-letter agency. The fact is he's a reporter. There is no free press in Russia, right? So you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. I'm glad they're home. I just think the timing was a little suspect, right? I don't like it for political gain. That's return. Or edit that out, please, Chris. I know you won't. That is stupid.
Troublemaker.
I know.
But okay, so let's take a guess. Let's all make a bet here. How long is it going to be until we start getting cyber attacked by some of these guys, these folks that were released?
Probably immediately. As soon as these guys touch a keyboard, we're going to be under attack again.
You think they step off the plane and Russia hands them a laptop and says, "Go to work."
Yeah.
Welcome home.
We own you now. Yeah. Comrade, please start working now.
Yeah. We immediately recruited into the GRU or the FSB. One of those. Like, we got you home. You owe us.
WSB, the Wall Street Bets. You know what we didn't talk about last week on that whole thing was like the dude that posted that I think it was 18 hours before CrowdStrike had the issue that he believed the company was overvalued and he was shorting the stock.
Oh yeah, he made like $80 million or something.
He actually really made $80 million?
It was something. I don't quote me on that, but he made some absurd amount of money in one day, and it was either very, very lucky or this guy caused the outage.
Yeah. Dude, it was wild. I was with the customer, and they were talking about the whole breakdown of that and like what actually happened. The file itself had been there for a while, or the code that would pull the file in had been there for a while, and the file was literally just all zeros. Like somebody, before they deleted it, they're like, "Oh, what's inside this thing?" Right? And it was just zeros. They're like, how the heck did we miss, or how did they miss that? Not saying that we're perfect by any means, but Jesus, that's wild.
Yeah. Yeah, their stock is taking quite a hit. I think as of today, it's like almost at 200, so it's lost like half its value.
Oof. Is it really down that far?
Yeah, 217 right now as of the time of this recording.
Oh, wow.
Over the last month, it's lost 43%.
Wow. I thought it bottomed out at 250, but
I know. And Glenn was tempted to buy it at 300. Good thing you didn't.
Shoot, so was I. And then I was like, wait a second, this is like a business-ending event.
Yeah, I was tempted as well. I worry about what's going to happen when the Delta case really gets going.
Yeah.
Delta's going after them for damages, and I think that's going to set precedents for all the cloud providers into the future.
I don't think they're going to have a leg to stand on. I think lawyers probably feel like they do. I don't know that they can, though.
It's those pesky USAs, those end-user subscription agreements that says we indemnify ourselves. Don't put this on any business-critical systems, and they'll try to hide behind that, but they'll have to prove like gross negligence or something to overcome that.
Probably, they probably, knowing Delta, right? Because they're a big company, they probably redline the hell out of the EUSA.
Yeah,
so
unlimited liability.
Yeah. It's like, we want the business, baby. So who knows? I still feel bad for every frontline employee infected by that, because I guarantee you, if you were traveling that day, people were just dumping on you, man. Like they were like, your flight's at 7, now it's 7 p.m. and just got canceled. You probably got the business end of the stick. That's for sure. That sucks for them.
I hope CrowdStrike sends them some $10 Uber Eats gift cards
that expire 10 minutes later. Did you use yours in time, or was already gone before you could?
Mine expired because I was on vacation, so I'm like, I'll deal with this when I get home. And then as soon as I got home, I think within like hours or even within a day or so, they canceled it.
All the funds had disappeared.
Yeah. Well, the official line from CrowdStrike is Uber flagged it as fraud because of the mass redemptions of it. Then they never bothered reissuing it or dealing with it. Maybe I'll ask them at the event we're at next week. Can I have my $10 gift card, please?
So the probably the quickest turnaround that I've seen. So I've seen customers that have like 10,000, 30,000 servers. Was one company in Indiana, and I was asking him like how long did it take? He's like, well, I got woken up at 1 o'clock in the morning. By 2 o'clock, there was an idea of a fix, and so then it was like literally all hands. They're calling everybody into the data center, and they were up and running by 9:30 in the morning, like all systems go. And then there were some straggling laptops that had BitLocker enabled, but from a server perspective, it's pretty phenomenal. Like the actual downtime was only measured like maybe 3 hours total. So
it's like
cool.
A Herculean recovery effort.
Yeah. And that includes time to sit there and be like, do we do our continuity, like business continuity, and fell over to another data center? Like, no, this is like, we still have to do these things on these servers. Might as well just take the blow and let's just grind it out right now.
Yeah, isn't that what Glenn said? Like, just because your primary data center runs CrowdStrike, your secondary data center, well, if they run CrowdStrike, then you're kind of hosed either way.
That's true.
Yeah,
you not rely on a single vendor at that point, but yeah, complexities with that.
I talked to an admin that Saturday night at a party, and she was part of the team going from user to user, making the call, unlocking the laptop because they all had BitLocker encryption, and then running the process to delete that file to get them back online. She said they were still going to be doing that like into the next 6 days.
Yeah.
It was just an amazing amount of effort to recover from that if you had encrypted laptops.
Yeah, very manual.
Yeah, the BitLocker one was huge, right? Just having that 64-digit code.
48, yeah.
Damn. 48, yeah. That's crazy.
There's one company, they got really lucky. They said their network gateway was the first to get the updates. Their network gateway bricked, and then that saved all the computers inside from reaching out to the internet and fetching this bad file.
Oh, jeez.
Just like a pure stroke of luck that their
that's by design.
So I did talk with a couple other CISOs, and I asked them like how they handle that, right? And how'd you actually plan for that beforehand? And it's as simple as like for users, like user devices, it was CrowdStrike, and for servers, it was a different endpoint, maybe a SentinelOne. Like they don't go all in on everything. Yeah, they diversify.
Let's double back on that other one. You said their network gateway got the update, went down. So they were running Microsoft on their network gateway?
Yeah.
As a network gateway device?
Yeah, it saved them.
Wait. Who the F runs Microsoft as
Windows
as an operating
server?
system?
Like, what is that?
Yeah, what the heck? I have no, like I said, what they do? Just have the other 10 machines running something else? I mean, what's going on?
What was that old traffic management something? Microsoft
TMG.
did have some kind of TMG traffic management.
That thing's been they took that out to the farm a long time ago.
Yeah, that one's been end of life like 20 years ago, right? So
hey,
just
who's
kidding.
laughing
Only
now,
10.
Glenn?
Only 10. I guess so.
All right, for our second topic, cybersecurity company and Zscaler partner KnowBe4 mistakenly hired a North Korean threat actor posing as an American IT worker. KnowBe4 confirmed in a blog post that no customer information was accessed and no company source code was compromised. In a brilliant security strategy, which basically should be table stakes at this point, KnowBe4 limits new hires access to only email and internet until they complete their full onboarding and training programs. The corporate laptop was shipped to an address, which later turned out to be a laptop farm, where laptops are set up in a safe location, and then North Koreans remote into those laptops to control them and make them appear to be legitimate American workers. The North Korean threat actor stole the identity of a legitimate IT worker, so he was able to pass the rigorous background checks that KnowBe4 conducts, and this person also completed at least 4 video interviews with the webcam on. The North Korean threat actor immediately loaded malware onto the corporate laptop as soon as it was plugged in, which alerted the KnowBe4 SOC, and they successfully contained the device.
You know, with the more podcasts that are out there and social media stuff and I don't know, blogs, I have no idea. Like, this is going to happen a whole lot more.
How do you go through 4 interviews? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this guy was supposed.
It seems like the article said something about using AI to correct the video to look like the headshot that he created.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even sure that was possible.
Yeah.
You need a Windows PC to do that.
It was a headshot of it was a headshot of the actual person, though, right?
Yeah.
In order to.
I think so.
I think it was like a stock photo, and then they used AI to make the guy look Asian because I guess the person interviewing was Asian.
Oh, not as Asian, right? Because in the stock photo, it was a Caucasian person, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and then they used AI to make the guy look Asian.
Yeah. Oh, the stock photo.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Scary.
Yeah.
You know, that's yet another thing people have to look out for. Not only are you getting all these threats from the open internet, but now you're getting like malicious insiders applying for jobs, which, you know, tale as old as time. I'm sure, you know, Russia and China trying to have infiltrating U.S. companies like this for decades, but yeah, it's just interesting with the whole remote work thing. You never actually have to meet face to face anymore. Everything can be done over Zoom.
I know. Return to office, checkbox number 1. Like, why you should do that. But I like, outside of COVID, I don't think you can get a job at Zscaler without showing up at HQ, right? At least once.
Either HQ or the regional hiring manager. You probably have to do a face to face at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you guys all have face to face meetings to get hired in your current positions?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you joined right before COVID or during COVID?
I joined right at the beginning of 2020, so I guess right in the middle of it.
Right
right before it.
Right when our stock was at about $40.
Yeah, right, just at the right time. But yeah, the RD and the SE manager at the time took a train down to Philly to meet with me face to face before my. Actually, that was my panel interview, so we definitely got together early in the process.
There's a lot of back checks, though, right? I mean, I know for some positions, it's like, hey, do you know this person? And if you look at their LinkedIn profile, everyone kind of knows. It's pretty incestuous. Everyone knows somebody from somewhere.
Yeah.
And you can kind of do a back check on somebody.
Security is very small. Like, even you, Glenn, you reach out to us and say, do you know this person? Do you know that person? And eventually, well, yeah, inevitably, one of us has bumped into this person at some point or knows someone that did.
Glenn, did you interview in person? For Island?
Did I interview in person?
For Island? No. Wow.
No.
But they knew who you were, right?
He's a North Korean spy.
I mean, I worked for them for, previous past lives and previous 2 companies before that. So they all knew me to begin with.
Glenn's playing the long game.
Yeah.
He's actually a North Korean spy, but he got like 4 jobs with these people to infiltrate.
Yeah.
You're good.
Hey.
I think mine.
But in this day and age, a lot of this stuff is all remote anyway, right? So, but
yeah, I had one phone text screen and then in-person panel, and then one last phone screen. So yeah, but my panel was all in person.
I feel like the whole like return to office thing is like being kind of jammed down people's throats, like whether you like it or not. And I feel like the really good people that don't want to do the return to office are like saying, screw it, I'll go work somewhere else that does do it. And so the companies that are more open to return to office, they're getting higher caliber people. They're also probably getting some lower caliber people, but I think the stuff will sort itself out in the end. At least that's from customers I've been talking to. That's been kind of the underlying notion. So they're not doing 100% return to office. It's a blend.
It
you guys seeing the same stuff
over time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am, for sure. A lot of my customers have gone to 4 days in the office, 3 days in the office. Only 2 that I know of are full-time mandatory in the office, and that's the city of Philadelphia and I think the really big cable company here in town.
Bleep that out, Chris. We don't want to name drop those names. So only 2 companies that you're working with today have a mandatory return to office 100% of the time?
Yeah, that I know of.
Okay.
It's mandatory every day in the office.
Dang, that's wild.
Is it?
There's a couple.
There's a tech.
They're out there.
Yeah, there's a tech company down the road from me here. Not naming names, but I know people that work there, and they just got the word that starting 2025, 5 days mandatory in the office again. And they're a tech company too, so I was surprised. I don't know if they're trying to fire through attrition or if they just really like people being in the office.
Well, like the companies like Alphabet and stuff like that, like the whole reason why you work there was for the culture that you could work and have a life there, right? Like you could work out, you had daycare, you could eat all your
free
meals.
Massages,
There's
car wash, dry cleaning.
Yeah, it was all like, and now if you get rid of all that, like, kind of levels the playing field, right? Those are all the perks. I guess forcing people back in would do that.
Yeah.
I guess they weighed on the cost of actually having an office and having employees back in, paying for all that, versus letting people go home and still be just productive. I thought there was a study that said that people are just as productive at home as they were in the office, and companies were saving that money. I guess it doesn't matter. You're still going to have brick and mortar mentality as far as let's go back and do work there at the office.
I know the three of us for sure, and then Jamie, you can chime in. I know we have never worked harder in our lives than we did during COVID. Like that was insane. Going back and looking at it, the
crazy
minimum 12-hour days of just back-to-back calls. Like, was it the same for you, Jamie?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So they got their money's worth that day. Yeah, the juice was worth the squeeze for us. That's for sure.
100%.
They sure did.
Wake up at
and I
first
think
meeting
that
6 a.m.
You mentioned
last
commercial
meeting's
real
9
estate.
PM. It's like, don't miss that.
Were you saying about the commercial real estate?
Yeah, I've had this theory for a while that lots of companies own lots of commercial real estate. People used to occupy those offices, right? And then COVID came around, sent everybody home, and then the big work from home push followed after that. But this real estate is still on their books.
Yeah.
And I think some companies literally just want to bring people back to the office to take advantage of the real estate that they're paying for today that they weren't able to sublease or sell while it sat empty.
Putting it empty or having to pay more electricity, more water. Like, I don't know. I don't know how you balance that out. All I do know is like,
yeah, it's hard to say.
Shopping in person has been ruined by Amazon, right? There really is nothing out there.
E-commerce,
I think clothing for a majority, like I'm a weirdo. I would definitely buy shoes and clothes. I'm not going to buy that off of Amazon because I want to make sure it fits. I think it's easier. But I go out with my wife to this one area. It's called Dana Park, and there used to be like, I don't know, 15 or so shops that she would just like bounce around from thing to thing. Now there's 3, and it was all clothing, like a little bit, like they just can't make it. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's Amazon and Temu and all those discount retailers. Like they don't have the overhead. And
my wife does. Shein? Have you guys heard of Shein?
Shein?
No.
Yeah.
Everyone here in Arizona calls it Shine. Or Shine. Yeah, Shein. Anyways, that's throwaway clothing. It's so cheap you wear it once and just throw it away. Like it's insane.
Yeah, that's Temu. Same idea.
Have you done the Amazon thing where you buy, say, 7 garments and you only send 6 back? You keep the one that fits?
I was just about to say that's what my wife does.
Yeah.
No.
I did that for the first time last year. It was actually right before kickoff when they asked us to come with Hawaiian shirts and crazy shorts and stuff. So I ordered 7 Hawaiian shirts from Amazon and just kept one of them.
Yeah.
Bro, like, why do you think you're 7 different sizes? I don't understand. I need
it was
petite,
because they were supposed to be neon.
Oh, okay.
No, it wasn't the sizes. It was they were super cheap. They looked really crappy online, but I needed one that was neon and fit pretty good.
Dude, I am that guy every single year. It is a surprise to me when it's the party night where they're like, yeah, remember when we said wear all white to this party or, a Hawaiian shirt? I'm like, no, I don't know this. And so I'm the only guy walking around and not in the appropriate attire. And people are just looking at me like I am insane, which
defiant.
I am.
Like, that's just Brian. He doesn't
Yeah,
follow
pretty
the
much.
rules.
You know who started that? Zappos was the one that really started that. Was like buy 3 sets, multiple sets of shoes, and then with the one that you don't want, the ones that you don't like, just return them.
Yeah. It's on us.
And it's postage paid. Yep. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, Amazon
got
actually
acquired by
provided
that
that
several times
for a while, but then now they're like, please don't. They're just costing them too much in return fees. Yeah. It's gotten to that point where if I bought like a $5 HDMI adapter, is the wrong one. I'm like, I'm going to send this back. And they're like, just keep it. We'll give you your $5 back. It costs them more to return it than for them to just let me keep it.
Do you think there's a list out there of the things that you can return but they let you keep? Because it seems like that would be a popular list.
I know for sure food and then health items. Like I got a aftershave. I ordered like too many, So they're just like, I'll send this one back. And they're like, no, you can keep it. So anything health related or anything food related.
Now we know what we're getting for Christmas, Brian.
Hopefully it's Brute. I love Brute. Smell like my grandpa.
Some Old Spice.
Some Drakkar Noir.
I was just going to say that, Glenn. Drakkar. CK1.
Oh my gosh.
That's it.
Old Spice. Stuff, Old Spice actually made a comeback, but old school Old Spice was badass, man. You just smelled like you were chopping wood all day.
Yeah, I liked Polo.
Yeah, Polo was a good one.
No one here was a Curve guy? Remember Curve?
Not a Curve guy.
Oh my god, I bathed in that, and then my wife's like, my ex-husband used to wear that. Well, this is going in the trash. I'm never wearing that again.
And trigger that sensory smell recall.
No thanks. We're good.
All right, for our third topic, the notorious Fin7 hacker gang is selling a new tool called EDR Killer to neutralize and terminate processes related to endpoint AV and EDR software. Ironically, demonstrating exactly why AV software needs to run in the kernel space on Windows, looking at you, CrowdStrike. vNeutralizer/AU Kill abuse the legitimate sysinternals process to terminate antivirus processes running on the device. This research comes from SentinelOne, which is one of CrowdStrike's direct competitors. They found that Fin7 have updated AV Neutralizer to utilize the Windows proc launch mon.sys driver to hang processes. So if it sees something it doesn't like an EDR or an AV, it just makes it hang and it basically terminates that so they no longer function correctly. These are using so-called living off the land techniques to neutralize AV and EDR software before launching their attacks.
Scary.
So the first red flag is you're using your computer and it's not boiling hot anymore, right? And you're like, oh, wow, my computer feels so much faster today. It's because the EDR is off. That should be indicator number one.
That's definitely an indicator of compromise. Like, this thing actually works like it's supposed to.
Yeah, right.
When my fan's not screaming, I worry about it.
My fan always, I don't even have a fan, but I can literally fry an egg if I have Teams open on a Mac. It is insane. And every day it says like, hey, you need an update. And then I go to do the update and there's no update for you. I'm like, screw you. By the way, I'm not going to out this company, but I was trying to submit my HSA stuff. I was like, I use it to pay medical bill. And I was like, I got to remember, just because the billing says you paid Dignity Hospital for, X, Y, and Z thing. They think that I'm lying and I bought some Fruit Loops or something, right? For $700. I have no idea what the cost was. So I always have to take a picture of it and I go to upload it and it's like, I sign in and it's like, hey, guess what? You need to update your app. I'm like, I have automatic updates on my phone, whatever. So I close out. Sure enough, I need an update. So I hit update. It updates. I sign back in. I was like, hey, you need an update. All right, fool me once, shame on me, whatever. So I click on the update again. It's like, you're updated. I'm like, this is just a ploy to get me on my money, because what would happen historically is I forget to actually upload the receipt. And then it's like a year later, like, hey, guess what, mofo? You got to pay it back. And then we already have access to your bank account. I'm like, dude, this is the whole reason why I have a health savings account. So I don't have to pay for this crap. You guys are killing me. So then it forced me to log into the computer and actually manually upload the receipt. And guess what? The charge hasn't been posted yet to the damn account. So ultimately I will forget about this and then end up paying with it with real money instead of my, it's just inevitable. I can't win. I feel like they do it on purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, they make it intentionally difficult.
Yeah. You have to be a rocket scientist.
Yeah.
And that was another one. Real quick. Also, just because they have a health savings account and then you go out to Amazon, you're like, oh, show me all the health savings account, eligible things. And then you buy a bunch of cool stuff there. I don't know, for $2,000. And then you go to expense it and they're like, only half of this actually qualifies. You're like, damn it. What am I do with all these Band-Aids, man?
Return. Well, you return it and then they'll say, just keep it. And then you get free Band-Aids.
You would think, but you don't find this out until 6 months later when they send you a letter in the mail saying, hey, you violated the terms and agreements of this stuff. And yeah, I've given up. Why don't I even save money? Does anybody just want money? I'll just send it to you.
Amazon's supposed to gate it. You use the HSA card, and they should only sell you things that are HSA eligible. I'm pretty sure you could appeal that, Brian.
Right, just more time that I have. Anyways, remember we were talking about thing that
EDR
evades
killer.
EDR stuff, not my health savings account.
That was actually something cool that just a quick shout out to Zscaler Deception. Like we can spin up like phantom processes like that look like EDR, and then we can monitor for it. So if something kills this fake decoy AV process, well, that's an indicator of compromise, and you get an alert right away that you have this EDR killer on your network.
Bro, I gotta say, the deception stuff that we do is freaking amazing. And I am always dumbfounded when customers are like, nah, I don't think so. That sounds cool. But any customer that tries it out, they're like, oh my God, like their mind's blown. And it's so hard to explain to them that, like, no, they don't understand. This is actually really cool. We've tried honeypots before. They're dumb. No, it's...
Well, you got to find the value, right? Because some of it is work. It's actual work, right? I mean, it's work to put out a honeypot and try and figure that out. And I get if you have a large team, but for some customers, it's just the value that they try and get from it is the issue.
That's the thing, is they always get the value. And I mean, if you do it correctly, and we're just doing it with like high fidelity alerts, right? It's pretty much low hanging fruit, right? It's just, once you get it, it's like, it's non-negotiable. It's like, listen, this is a crappy thing that's going on right now. What do you guys want to do? And I'm not talking about honeypots like in the DMZ or internal. Like those are, the DMZ stuff will get hit, right? It's just a matter of time. Internal, you have to be an idiot. Like you have to be like a Chris Louis hacker to hit that thing. But like when you tie deception into zero trust, that's when the real value comes up, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was able to spin up a fake ATM machine on my website in just a few clicks and a DNSA record. So we make it pretty easy. It's just like Brian said, you gotta get them to do the test drive, and then most people buy it once you get them to that point.
I remember when you set up your first decoy, Chris, and then I was like, oh, I guarantee he can see the username and password that I'm logging in with. So, because he shared the link, I was like, all right, let me, I started putting stuff in there, and he immediately sent a message. He's like, oh, here's Brian.
Yep, he put something obscene in the username field as usual. If there's any question on why does AV need to run in the kernel space, this is it. I think it's just Microsoft has made such a mess of allowing everybody in there, and there's no reasonably usable API that connects the user space to kernel space. But that's probably where they need to go. Is you still need to monitor the kernel, but you want to kick them out of the kernel at the same time.
So Microsoft, in order to do this, would have to take a page out of Apple's book, which is pull everyone out of the kernel, including your homegrown apps like Windows Defender, right?
Yep.
Which would probably not a trivial effort. And then two, once you do that, then you have to, I think Mac OS does an API into the kernel, right?
Yeah, that's the right way to do it.
That's the correct way. I think it'd be a heavy lift, but I think they're going to have to do it. And we could, wasn't it you that said thank you to the EU for making this happen?
Yep. Because the EU anti-competitive practices. If Microsoft gets access, everybody gets access.
Yeah.
This is going to be like a Windows 12 thing. There's no way that in the current architecture they could ever do this. It'd have to be an overhaul.
How many things do you think can actually talk to the kernel? Is it like printers, webcams? Like, do you think it's like that dramatic that it would be a huge lift to make that happen?
As long as you get your driver signed off by Microsoft, any hardware vendor can, even software vendors can get in the kernel. Microsoft just has to approve the driver.
Oof. Yeah, that's a big one, boys.
But you guys have it approved, right? CCC.
We don't operate in the kernel. No, we operate in user space.
But you need administrative privileges to install.
We do, yeah.
For
the network driver, we have to install it. But I still don't think we operate in the kernel space.
We don't.
As far as I know. Yeah, someone can correct me, but I don't think we do.
That's confirmed. We definitely don't. I think it's the reason why we need it is for the lightweight window. Was it the Windows packet filter driver?
Filter driver, yeah.
Yeah, filter driver.
Yeah. Wow. Half our
Seems
audience
like there should be
asleep.
an interface for that thing. That filter driver is really cool the way it operates, but it seems like there needs to be an interface to manage it, because you've got all these vendors with their agents trying to grab traffic from there, and sometimes you're in front of a vendor who wants to also see that traffic, right? So it almost seems like there should be some sort of a control panel widget to see what's happening in that filter driver space.
There's got to be a pecking order, and you should be able to customize it, because we've run into interop issues with other vendors that try to get first in line, and it's just a race to the bottom at that point.
So you should use a browser.
Yep. Everyone should use a browser.
Everybody will use a browser at some point, Glenn.
Yeah. Everyone already uses a browser. We need an enterprise browser.
Tell that to help you.
Not browser isolation. That's just pseudo browser. So
that's not fair, Glenn.
I'd like to say Brian started it a while back. I'm just casting some doubt out there.
Casting some shade. It's the same thing. What are you talking about? Enterprise browsers are just, the bastard child of browser isolation. Just kidding. They are not. They're wildly different technologies, and everyone should have both.
All right, for our last topic, and it'll be a rotating topic every week. This week, we're going to talk about Southwest Airlines' sudden and unexpected change to their famous open seating policy. Starting in 2025, Southwest will switch from an open seating policy to assigned seating with premium tiers that have more legroom. I know my two co-hosts are triple platinum on Southwest, and I've flown them a bit as of lately. So how did you feel about this change?
Go for it, Glenn.
Well, I fly Southwest a lot. I kind of used to it now. As long as you know the system, you kind of know how to gain the system. So I was okay with open seating.
Do you prefer open to assigned, though, if you had the choice?
It all depends, right? Like if I'm last minute flight and there's no seats left on not open seating, on assigned seating, then I'm kind of stuck with the middle seat. But I could get a last minute flight, leaving, like a week or a couple days before, and I still get in the A group, A ahead of everybody else, and now I have a really nice seat. So it just depends on, like I said, how you gain the system and you work the system, and just know how to get around it.
Yeah, I stopped flying Southwest this year, but I loved it.
What?
Yeah. Well, I fly.
Well, that's because you're flying you're flying all over the place, though.
When I was flying back and forth to SoCal and Vegas every single week, it made a lot of sense because it was so easy to change flights. But I will say, there are no atheists on a Southwest boarding with a C group, right? Everyone's praying, please don't put me in the middle. God, I love you. That was one thing. And then my other favorite thing, when I was on Southwest, is I love it when you get like a very, very attractive person with like C59 walking down the aisle. Like they're looking up, they're trying to figure out where their seat's at. And you're like, oh, you poor thing. You're going to have to sit in the middle. You don't even know this. Life isn't fair to you, but reality's giving it to you today. But that's only happened like once or like maybe twice.
Could have paid the $20 for priority boarding.
I will say this, right? So I fly United as the other one when I'm flying international or I'm flying someplace that Southwest doesn't go. There's nothing more upsetting than having an assigned seating, and then when they call for priority, more than half the plane boards before your assigned seat.
Oh yeah.
If you weren't in that first priority group, you're just it's no fun. It's all the bin spaces are gone, and it doesn't work out for you that way. So. Either way, like I said, I'll figure out how to game it as soon as they change it. And but again, it's just that priority boarding and the assigned boarding. It's all a fallacy, because if everyone has some level of priority or
status paid
club status, club level, then they're gonna board ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's to the bottom. It's like same thing with United. Like if you want guaranteed bin space, well, you pay $20 for priority boarding, or pay the $40 to check it in.
Yeah.
I was flying, I think, to Minnesota, maybe Wisconsin, on Southwest, pretty sure, and there was like 27 people in wheelchairs, like to the pre-board. I was like, oh my God. And then as we got on, like every single one of these people that was in line, because I was like A2, so I was back behind them, and I'm in the line, and they all got up to the thing. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. Like they actually have a specific wheelchair for people that need a wheelchair once you get onto the plane. And so they help pick them up, they set them in there, they roll them over there, whatever, and same thing getting back off. But all 27 people just stood up and walked to their chair. And I remember I looked at the flight attendant. I was like, man, Jetway Jesus is here today. It's healing people. It's a miracle. And she just started laughing. I was like, wow.
Well, they need a wheelchair to go down. They want to board everybody else. And then as soon as the plane lands, they're the first to stand up. They want to get off that plane. It's like, oh, so you don't need a wheelchair to get off the plane. Okay. Yeah. Jetway Jesus.
Jetway right? Jesus, baby.
Are you a Southwest guy, Jamie?
No, I've only flown Southwest 1 or 2 times, and to be honest, I didn't really understand the open seating policy. And no doubt, I had 0 status, right? So I'm trying to figure it out. I'm probably C or even worse if there is such a thing.
So he's looking for seat C30.
Yeah. So for me, it was not a great experience, but I can totally see if you've got status, so you're in the first or second group, then you're more likely to get the seat you want that way. So I get it.
Yeah, window or aisle. Yeah, and the nice thing about Southwest, they did have family boarding, so I traveled with young kids, and we were able to sit together. We board after the A's, so and the parents and the kid, we take a middle and a window, so it's not like we're stealing someone's aisle seat or anything.
There was one time.
You're welcome for that, by the way.
Yeah, there's one time where I was I switched my flight. I think I was trying to get out of there sooner, and it was like a legitimate standby. So I was last one on the plane, and it was Southwest, and I got on the plane, and I was all the way towards the back, and it was like obviously middle seat, and I looked over, and it's just 2 dudes, and they're just like making eye contact with me. I was like, ugh. So I got off the plane. I said, I'm going to switch my flight. I don't want to do it to them. I can't put something small there. I'll wait a couple hours.
But
took one for the team
on Southwest. If you're late, you forget to check in, and let's say you're B something, anything in the B group, right? If you've got priority, you can board after the A group, right? So in between there, the priority member. So you'll at least get somewhere in the 60, 70 seats that are have been boarded already. You'll still get something pretty good. So
I think
it's only if your plane is late and you're rushing, it's like you're kind of SOL.
The Southwest is doing this for money. This is a grab. They just want
100%. 100%. It's Wall Street pressure, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we continue to get great comments about our dad joke of the week.
Dad joke of the week.
This week, our guest Jamie is up.
Okay, so what is Forrest Gump's laptop password?
Gen A. I don't know.
My mama told me.
One, Forrest, one.
Nice. Wah. A dad joke and tied to InfoSec, so you hit 2 for 2 on that one. All right, to wrap things up, Russia really values their cybercriminals. Companies need to tighten up hiring practices, have a layered approach for security, and Southwest is changing to assigned seating. That's all we have for this week. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. You can find us on LinkedIn. Links will be in the description. Follow us on Instagram at PEBCAK Podcast. Thank you to all our listeners and subscribers. Rate us 5 stars in the iTunes Store and Spotify, and left us a review. We appreciate you all spreading the word to help grow the show. The best way to find us is search for the PEBCAK Podcast in your favorite podcast listening app. My co-host Brian Deitch, Glenn Medina, and our guest Jamie Harris, I'm Chris Louie. Thanks for listening. We'll see you all next weekend. As always, have a nice day.
Bye, Felicia. Have a nice day.